Welcome to another episode of Boss Pod. I wrote nothing for this episode. I decided that I just want to be myself and represent the show authentically in the moment. No need for introduction other than the plugs of my social media and where you can support the podcast. So today we're winging it. On this podcast, I talk with creators of all walks of art. Today I'm talking with a lovely lady named Nyla. She and I went to the same school, and she and I have very similar paths and career outlines. I don't know if that's a thing, but she's an artist through and through. She started playing keys for other artists and then writing for people, and now she's doing her own thing, and she's been doing her own thing beautifully. So I'm going to introduce her and bring her on in just a minute, but I have to plug the show. If you want to support Boss Pod and everything that I do, you can go to my Patreon, patreon.com/shenova, and show some love and support there. You can also subscribe to my YouTube, youtube.com/shenova, where all Boss Pod episodes are uploaded, and all my music exists, and other things that I make a lot of videos and do a lot of different things there. So show some love by subscribing. I'm going to bring in Nyla. She is a singer-songwriter, keyboardist, super soulful, amazing songwriter, and I just can't wait to talk to her. So we're bringing her in right now. And jump. Guest dance. Waiting to connect dance. Hi.
Hey, how are you?
Hello, darling. I'm good. I see you got your hair did.
I did. I know a lot of people here don't know me, but usually my hair's like curly and doing its thing. So I got it cut and I'm just like, feels good. Feels nice. Summertime vibe.
Did you get some kind of treatment to make it straight since you do normally have curly hair?
Oh, no, I just straightened it with
it's just straightened. Okay.
Straightened, yeah, just straightened. Yeah. Gotta have it versatile.
Yeah, because I have the opposite problem. My hair is bored straight, and if I try to put a curling iron to it, it's just bored straight within 5 minutes again. So I was wondering if like people who have curly hair have the same problem keeping it straight, but you're just cooler than I am.
Maybe, yeah, it can frizz up and do its thing, but
okay.
no, you just straighten it.
Well, it's so nice to see you. You look gorgeous.
You too. Oh,
and
thank you.
I've been binge watching your stuff on YouTube and Instagram and listening to your music and what you've been up to. And I'm just thoroughly impressed by your talents, and I'm thoroughly impressed by your spirit and just the kind of attitude you have towards your fans and what you do. So for everybody new that's in here and doesn't know you, tell us a little bit about you and what you're up to right now.
So I live in Chicago. We, like Noah said, we went to school together. And so since living here, I mean, I'm a keyboard player, I'm a singer, I produce, I write. And so really this pandemic has been so great. I mean, it's not great, but for me personally, it's been an awesome time to just explore more, to have more time to create the things that I want, to be able to connect more in a way that I haven't when I'm normally super busy. So I've just been writing a lot, working on my new EP, and just really working on just like growing my audience and getting to know more people that are on social media. You know what I mean? Instead of having it be this like smoke screen where I don't know anybody that's on the other side of the screen, you know?
Yeah, and that's so important. And there's so much we can dive into there, but I want the juice. I know that you are married. How recent was that?
We're going to be going on 5 years now in September.
Married?
Yeah, 5 years married.
Wow, okay.
I forgot how long together, but yeah, 5 years married.
Doesn't matter. So he's kind of your partner in crime because he produces, he makes music as well, and he goes by Hank. Is that right?
Yeah, he goes by Hank.
And that's awesome. So, you know, as a solo artist, and, you know, I know you're very DIY. I know you're very hands-on. How is it having him a part of your team? What does that dynamic look like?
Well, it's interesting because for the longest time we didn't collaborate, and everybody is always like, "Oh, you guys are married, you must make music like all the time." But we really didn't until maybe 2 years ago. He really, he played for Big Sean. Well, he still does play for Big Sean, but mainly drums. So, can you hear me okay?
Yes, I can.
Oh, okay, okay.
I'm getting a note from someone saying my face is blurry, but
Oh,
I'm just doing a 21 Pilots thing. I don't know.
Fabulous.
My
But
name's Blurry Face.
as of like 2 years ago, he really started diving in as far as songwriting and stuff and producing. So this has been more of a recent thing. And so it is interesting dynamic. And I just love what he brings to the table because I've kind of haven't been producing as much as I usually do. So it's interesting because it's like your spouse and you're working together all the time. But it's also a nice thing. It's a nice way to be able to collaborate and hear his perspective. And he really brings my stuff to life like no other. And it's incredible because he just started doing this really. So it's a nice dynamic. Honestly, it is. I think, you need like breaks sometimes where you're just like, okay, let me do my thing, let you do your thing. But ultimately when you come together, it's great. It really.
no, and I noticed that because you and I come from a piano foundation and kind of a singer-songwriter-y thing. And I noticed that on your YouTube, when you do the covers, when you do, which you did some produced covers, and I love those, and those really sparked my love for you because your little cover flips.
Oh yeah, flipped covers. Those are so. I gotta
Those are
bring those
so
back.
cute. You do need to bring those back.
The only thing I have to say is put that fry pan and intro-ish at the end.
Yes.
I'm serious.
Go
I'm
straight-
serious because you're.
Yeah.
Yes, because it's instantly captivating. It's instantly amazing. It's instantly artistic and like you on brand. So just like instantly go into that and get people in and then do that cute like sticky stuff at the end. It's so freaking cute.
Right.
You're adorable. But people
Yes,
want to just
thank
like
you,
people
thank
have
you.
an attention span of like 5 seconds. So
Yes,
But-
totally. Trust me, I've grown so much since then because that was like 4 years ago, maybe. So
Yeah.
I haven't done those in a long
You gotta
time.
bring
those back because your style, like you instantly hear who you are and what you're about when you can have a song to compare and be like, oh, well, it doesn't usually sound like that. That's her style. It's really nice.
Thank you. And someone
So-
here asked my YouTube channel. It's youtube.com/Nyla Music.
Awesome.
NYLA Music. Yeah.
Yes, and there's so much good stuff there. And what I was going to say about Hank is you kind of go from singer-songwriter-y piano vibes to like groovy and this like there's just this pocket that you find even just vocally when you collaborate with him, and his bass lines and everything he does is so cool. Is that sonically more of what you're saying, like it comes to life for you?
Yes. And that's funny because we were literally talking about that this morning, that like I like he's producing my EP and I'm so excited because I ideally like when I just do my covers, I'm just like being acoustic, whatever. But my vibe really is having rhythm, having a cool vibe, attitude in my songs. And so that comes to life when he produces the stuff. So that's why I'm so excited for this EP and people to hear like, okay, what is her style like,
Yeah, and so how many songs in this EP? What is it called? When can we get it?
It's 6, and it's right now the working title is Plain and Simple. That might change, but right now it's Plain and Simple, and it's 6 songs.
Okay.
So
and
I'm looking towards a fall release, but I haven't really
Perfect.
said anything beyond just saying that I'm working on my EP.
Yeah. Okay, cool. Well, I'm looking very forward to that. And speaking of releases, you just put out a couple songs recently in lieu of all of this Black Lives Matter stuff, and the one was We'll Figure It Out. Am I saying that right?
Yeah,
Yes.
we'll figure it out. Yeah.
Yes, I love what you did, and it just brings me back to basically me now. I don't know, it just feels sentimental for some reason, but because I've been doing the whole DIY artist thing myself. And your video in front of that black backdrop and how you edited and cloned yourself, I was like, yes, girl, like
thank
making it work
you.
in the living room.
It was so great. So tell us a little bit about that song.
honestly my
so people go
favorite
check it
video
out.
to date that I think I've done.
It's super cool. And
Yeah, so the song is called We'll Figure It Out. Thank you. Oh, no, go ahead. Go ahead.
sorry, I think we have a little bit of a delay, so we're kind of talking over each other. I'm sorry, I keep stepping on you.
Oh, that's okay. Oh,
Yeah,
no,
yeah.
I'm sorry.
Tell us about it. Yeah, go ahead.
Well, okay. So, yeah, We'll Figure It Out is actually a song that I wrote like years ago, and I had a different version, completely different. And Hank and I were just like chilling, and he's like, "Man, we should really like put out a song, just having to do with the racial injustice." And I'm like, "Well, we should just do We'll Figure It Out and do it over again." And basically, the premise of the song is just talking about the climate that we're in, and that really being hopeful that like maybe this time we'll finally get it, because it keeps repeating itself. This is not a problem. The racial injustice is not something that just goes away. Racism doesn't just go away, but like you have to be hopeful that like maybe this time we'll figure it out in some kind of way. Like, what is it that we can do that's different from the last time? And I'm sure this will come up again every single day in a few years, but just
History
really
repeats
bringing it back
themes.
home.
Yeah.
Yes.
Mhm.
Just bringing it back. I'm always just about like bringing the positive message, because there's a lot negative out there, and more, rightfully so, but I just like to be that voice that just says like, okay, like this is everything that's going on, but how can we make sense of it and figure it out? So yeah, I hope you guys check it out. I do love that video a lot.
Yeah, definitely do. And it was all homegrown, homemade, everything. So definitely supporting that is what we're about here. But it seemed personal too. When you come in with that second verse talking about, I'm going to save my heart. Like, this is just it. Where does it all come together for you at like a soul level, just personally?
Well, for me, the funny thing is, because I actually, even when I filmed it, I was like, okay, everybody's used to me being so like cutesy and so like, when I'm doing my songs. And there's really a lot inside of me that, I feel on a very serious level that I feel like I don't always let out, because I'm just always trying to be like, hey, smiles and stuff. But, it really does upset me when I just see things that happen that aren't fair. And it's just really does strike me on a personal level. And I felt like it was important to just communicate that, and communicate for me what I feel is like these situations, like I said, don't just go away. Like it requires that you work a lot inside of your heart. And that's a big thing, so it really just resonated with me. And I knew that to convey the message the way I wanted to, I just couldn't be cutesy about it. I actually had to like be emotional about it. You know what I mean? And just,
I feel that
in what I feel.
I feel that in a lot of your songs, though. I feel that deepness, and I feel that personal space that you create. Do you feel that this song was, because I don't see cutesy when I see anything about your brand. Maybe it's a little bit lighthearted and positive, but I would never say cutesy with you. You've got a mood, and a lot of your originals are deeper and personal. So that's not new to me, at least for you.
So
well, thank you for saying that. Yeah. I guess you're right. I guess more so as far as speaking up about things like this, you know what I mean? Where most of the time I am not talking about racism and stuff like that. So I guess in that sense, like I'm not used to really using my voice in that way, but so it was important for me to say like I feel personally, and to put that message out there.
Yeah, well, I think you did it well, and I had a question about it though. Before you go into the second verse, you're sitting like a child, Indian style, looking at this projection. Maybe I'm completely out of the loop here, but who is that dude, and what does that mean in regards to your song?
Oh no! Oh my God! It's so funny that people thought my mom thought it was a dude too. It's Nina Simone, and she's saying that an artist's duty is to reflect the times, and so that's what the whole speech is about. And so I had that as part of the interpretation of like, this is me reflecting the times and the things that I'm seeing. So yeah, it's Nina Simone. But yeah, actually, it's so funny.
And that's not a new.
It was probably
speech
due to my editing, because it's like you can't even hardly see it. It was kind of ambiguous in that way. But yeah, it's Nina Simone, and it's an excellent speech if you've never heard it. But she always says so many great things. But
I don't think I have. And is she? And that's not a new speech. That's been around.
No. Yeah, it's been around. Yeah.
Got it. Because I wasn't sure. So I like that it's ambiguous, but because then everybody can have their own take on it. Like, they can think it's a dude.
Right. Yeah, but
Like
no,
I did.
definitely Nina Simone talking about, it was just saying an artist's duty is to reflect the times, and that's what she feels is like their duty. Basically, that's what you owe the art, is to talk about the things that happen.
Yeah, and you're saying that this kind of feels like it's the first time for you talking about something in current events like this.
Yeah.
Like,
That can be borderline political. And as an artist myself, like, it's so hard because you don't want to polarize your audience. You don't want to be controversial. I know sometimes that can work, but at the same time, I think you and me are very similar as artists. We want everybody to feel welcome in our space of music. And I wrote a song called "I Can't Breathe" when this all happened.
I know,
right
I
around
saw
the
that
same
one too.
time.
That was great as well. Yeah.
Which you had that protest chant kind of incorporated in your song as well. And I think it all just comes down to, that was not a very controversial situation. Like, nobody stood up for that cop. Nobody said, no one was defending him. It was very clear that this was freaking murder. And with something like that, I think it brings out more of just the human baseline of compassion. And like, how can we still be here? We're in the 21st century and we're acting like barbarians. Like, so I'm glad that you spoke up to it, and I felt comfortable enough to speak up to it too, even though it is borderline.
Right. And I think what I like something too, just for both of us is, we have to come into this mentality where like our what we create is not meant to please everybody, and you're not pleasing everybody anyway. Not everybody's going to like your music regardless of what you talk about. Yeah. So it's really about like you being your authentic self and how you communicate it, because I can say something controversial, but like I try my best to portray the type of person that I am through, excuse me, the way that I talk, the way that I interact with people. And so if somebody takes it a wrong way, excuse me, my voice, if
You're
someone
fine.
takes that the wrong way, that's not your problem. You know what I mean? It's not your responsibility, and you're doing yourself the best that you can by being honest and transparent. You have to break out of saying like, we're trying to please everybody, make everybody happy, and make everybody feel welcome, because they should feel welcome as you as a person, but you can't. You know what I mean? We can't please everybody. Can't please everyone.
True. 100% true. And drink your water, girl. I got my queen bee over here. So I think it is an interesting topic, and it's something that I've been struggling with as things have become very heated in current events. We've had the coronavirus, and then now this whole George Floyd thing has turned into protests and then sometimes violence in certain places. And it's hard not to talk about, even though in mainstream media it becomes political, unfortunately, instead of this togetherness and like trying to make the world better together thing. It becomes divided, and that's hard. Like I try to, as an artist myself, not wanting to piss anybody off, honestly, even though I don't really care what people think, I want everybody to be able to listen to my music and connect to it.
Yeah.
So
and you want to be a protector of your spirit too, and not drag in negativity, because sometimes that can just attract negative, too. So I get what you're saying.
Right.
Yeah.
So it's not caring about what people think, but it's an all encompassing. And I think for me, when I write songs, I just try to find the bottom line.
Don't get into the details.
And that's the same. Yeah.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
So
and sometimes I will get into the details. It just depends, just depends.
Yeah, which this one, we did it a little bit, we got a little bit more like this was what happened. But I want to dive into your writing process, because I think you and I are similar. Is it usually at the piano? Do you start with a beat? Where does the inspiration spark for you?
The inspiration, yeah, usually it starts at the piano or when I'm driving. Driving is like my prime time, and I haven't driven. When I first moved to Chicago, I was driving. I was living like an hour away from the city, and I was coming down 4 nights a week to sing. So that was like an awesome time for me to write. Like I just have melodies and voice memo after voice memo, and that was my big thing. But now that I live so close to everything, I'm barely writing because I'm not driving. So now it's mainly piano. I know. Now it's piano based mainly, but honestly, driving is like when I have the best melodies and the best ideas come to me. And for a while I was doing it like just like starting in production and then going through a song like a beat. And then I was like, let me go back to like who I am, which is sitting down at a piano and just like going for it, you know? So that's actually what inspired this EP, Plain and Simple, because I was like, I want it to be plain and simple. Like, let me just go back to my roots, just me and the piano, not all this production stuff, but I kind of like the production too. So that's why, you know, but that's the whole idea behind it. Yeah.
Yeah. I find myself being pretty torn between, and this is exactly what I'm going through right now, because I don't want to call it an EP, but I have a group of songs that I'm going to release as singles. Singles just seem to work for me better because otherwise I hold on to stuff. And then like the other songs get done and then I look back at the first one that I finished and I'm like, well, gotta start over. Be like, I don't like it anymore. So I just have to put out singles so I can't think about it for too long. But I feel very pulled because like I have a song coming out this next Friday called Gray, and I wrote it at the piano, and it was just a piano song, and it was pretty perfect that way. But then one night I just started going in and making a production and playing around with it, and I love the production version. But in reality, both are great. So it's almost like it's almost to the point that I want to have an acoustic version and a produced version of every song that I do, because
that's
so
exactly how I feel.
To decide,
that's exactly how I feel.
They both live in perfect worlds, you know. But I don't even know how that would work. How would even that work?
Could you
you could just put out the single, like put it out as a producer and then have one that's just like parentheses acoustic. Because I literally understand exactly what you mean. I've been feeling the exact same way. And, you know, it's that, or you can just do a video of you doing the acoustic version and just have it. But I think there is definitely a space for acoustic that people just really resonate with, you know, to be able to take a step back. But I totally get that. 100%.
I think I might do that. And it's more content. More content, the better.
Exactly. You should do it. And yeah, because I've heard your stuff. So it's like piano for you, it is super moody and it's so good. But then also like when you have the production and stuff, it just takes it up a notch. So I get it. I totally get it.
And initially, the production thing was so important to me, and I was always looking for producers to work with, because at the time I wasn't at a level of producing that I felt was final product. Now I am. I've worked towards that, and I'm so freaking thankful because I don't have to rely on anybody. But when I thought that was so important, I felt like it was like an identity issue. I was like, I'm going to be seen as a singer-songwriter, an acoustic artist, and how that's no fun. I want to be this, you know, I want to be a pop star. I want to be a whatever label. And I think as artists, we get stuck in the label of it a little bit. But it is true. It is just kind of fact that sonically, when you have more elements going on, it changes the sound of the artist, you know? And that is part of our identity. So it's such I push and pull with it all the freaking time.
I know, me too. And I think that's the thing, because you just have to realize like they both can coexist, but like, you know, like your voice is something that's consistent for one. So it's like, same with me, like stylistically, like whether my stuff is over a beat or not, like people can still identify with like, oh, that's Nyla. And so like, you know, when you incorporate it into your live shows, like those are those moments that people have. Like, I know we're not the only people who wrestle with this. Like Taylor Swift, for crying out loud, she's like, I want to be pop star, but she also wants to be respected and be seen at her piano. So I think, you know, it's a common thing. Alicia Keys too, you know what I mean? Like they all have both worlds, and it's just like creating that environment so it is normal for you as an artist, that it's on brand for you to be both acoustic and, you know what I mean? Instead of, if you make it where you're separating it, then people are going to think like they're two separate people. But when you make them coexist, then it's like, oh, this is who she is. She does this and this. You know what I mean?
We're the only ones stressing out about it.
Exactly. Everybody else just wants to hear the music. That's all they want. They're like, yeah,
no one
cares.
freaking
Play the music. Yeah, exactly.
So as far as content goes, where has your head been at lately? I know you've got this EP, but are you working on any new videos, or are you prioritizing covers or anything yet?
Yeah, no, literally. So I've just been in like create mode. Like this is the most like I've been hitting me up. They're like, oh my God, like how do you post like every day? Because I never used to do this. And now it's just been like every day I'm like, okay, let me just go record a cover real quick. Let me just do this. But I'm starting a YouTube series on my YouTube channel that's just like Nyla talks about blah, blah, blah. And so I'll be talking about things like creating content on a budget. So people ask me all the time, like, how do you do these things? How do you make these videos that look good? And, you know, I'm just a strong advocate for like, you don't have to spend millions of dollars to like, don't make excuses. You can do this in your house.
$1 million can't spend this much. $1.
Exactly. $1. Exactly. But I think like having people be able to expand their, you know, their thought process and like creating content, I think is important. So basically I'll be talking about things like that, things about like creating a routine when you're just like a musician. And like, I think that's something that musicians struggle with a lot is like a routine. It's like, it just is not our thing, but it has to be almost like part of it. You need a schedule. You need to have your goals. You need to do these things. So basically, so that's something that I'm working on.
What's that called? What's that going to be called?
It's called Nyla Talks About blah, blah, blah.
Nyla Talks About. Okay.
Yeah.
I
Nyla
love that. And I
Thank
was
just talking to my mom on the couch the other day. I just moved into a new place, not far from where I was before, but moved. And that was the whole thing. And I've also been dealing with some health things that have been like really stopping me from doing what I want to do. And this last week, I finally have slowly but surely, I'm like coming out of the fog. And I feel like myself again. And I was like, I have all these plans. And I was talking to her about how I want to create more talking content. And that's why I started this podcast, because I think it's so cool to dive into the creative experience with other creators. I love it. It's so inspiring. But I also was thinking about like, I just kind of want to talk like on YouTube. And you saying that is exactly where my mind was going, and not even in a tutorial way. Like I feel like you have that, what am I trying to say? I think that's awesome. That's not where my mind was going. I was going in more of like honestly, just like things are going on in my mind, like my inner world, just like spitting it out.
Gotcha. More like a sounding board of sorts, just like get it out. Yeah. A journal, your virtual journal. Yeah,
because I have all these like deep contemplations all the time about life. And I think that's a big part of being a creator too, not just the physical stuff of actually making something, which is cool. But there's the other side. I'm more like metaphysical with it. You know, I'm like, life, human stuff is weird, man. And I like to like think about it. I don't know what I'm going to do yet, but I was just thinking about that too.
I don't know. I figure it out.
Cool. Well, I know I'll be tuned into that because I'm already subscribed to your channel. So I'll probably come across it.
Hopefully. We'll see if it all comes together. I'm pretty ADHD, so that might not happen. So anyways, I don't know. I just went off on a tangent, but just talking to your audience in general is amazing. And just wanting to help other artists, you know, that's why I made this podcast, and it sounds like that's why you're going to do the Nyla Talks About
series. Exactly. And it's like, it's kind of like what you said, like it's a talks about in a tutorial vlog format. It's just like a combo of
like
three.
A vlog.
It's basically like I'm walking you through. Yeah. It's like, it's not all the way a vlog. It's like it's a combination. So basically, like, for example, the Figure It Out video, I'm going to be talking about like creating stuff like that at home. So it's also going to be like a behind the scenes, but also tutorial on like, this is how you can do something like this. So there'll be
That's
different kinds
perfect.
of, some of the episodes will be more tutorial based. Some of them will just be more like talking, encouragement based, like, you know, like
Yeah.
you need a routine. Like, what are things that we can do? And just speaking from my experience, I'm not a guru. I don't have it all figured out, but I think that's the comfort, is not having other people that have not figured it out brings you to a place where like, okay, cool. I'm not like on this island by myself
Yep.
where it's impossible. Like, other people don't have it figured out and are still making progress. So how can I
The
hop on that train
journey
too?
is
Exactly.
cool.
The journey's cool. People want to see not you mess up, but you figuring it out along the way, and like documenting this whole thing. You know, I don't want to sound like ego-y, but it's our legacy. You know, it's the content that we're archiving and leaving behind that will surpass our lives and maybe do something for someone else. Like, that's what it's about, man. So, and I was gonna say something, I lost it. Grr, what were you saying? You were saying, you were talking about showing them behind the scenes. I thought that was really cool. So do you have footage from that shoot that you're going to show in that?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I do. I was just showing the process
Nice.
because I did that. We shot that. Well, I shot it, but my husband like helped me. We did that in, I want to say, like 4 hours or something, or less. Like, just shot his, shot mine, and then I edited it, and then it was up the next day. So like, I'm very
Wow.
fast with my content. That's the funny thing, because sometimes people think like I spend hours on this, but like I literally shot, edited, and put that video up within a day. So
Yes.
it's just like,
Slay.
granted, I know that I've been doing this for a long time, so it's not going to be like everybody can just do this in a day, but the hope is just to inspire people to say like, okay, like, I can do it even if it takes me a little bit longer. Like, you know, it's possible. So yeah, I do have
Yeah.
footage from that, just showing like me setting everything up and like how ghetto it honestly looks, versus like when it's edited, you're like, oh wow, that came from that. You know what I mean?
Yep.
So it definitely, I'm excited to share that.
What camera did you use for that?
I use, where is that? It's a Sony A6600.
Oh yeah, I have a Sony A5100.
So one
Oh,
right
okay.
below that. Yeah.
I
Yeah.
literally just bought it, and that was the first video. That was the first video that I shot on that one. So normally I've had this outdated Canon for the longest time that I've shot things on. And we were just like, okay, like now it's time. Like, I've had this for like 9 years. Like, I think it's time we can give this up. I would shoot things like that, you know? So yeah. Sony.
Yeah.
Sony
I love the Sony.
They are great cameras, honestly. They really are. Yeah.
I like them a lot.
They're
I
really
like them
good.
a lot.
So I remember what I was going to ask you. I was going to ask you, you're talking about this routine that we need. What's your current routine?
Yes. Well, see, that's the thing. So this is why people assume that I have this grandiose routine, and my thing is to learn from my mistakes, because when I do have a routine, which I have had before, I am more productive. Rushing, and I'm just doing things quickly, and it steals my peace of mind, and I'm just like, I have to do this really quickly. So what I'm working back towards is getting back up at a normal time, because I can sleep in and my mornings are thrown away. Part of my routine right now is just not being on my phone in the early part of the morning, and really taking that time to just not be on my phone, to just say, okay, what is it that I'm trying to do today? Working out is in my routine. And obviously just like incorporating like, okay, a time to like having things prepared. It's really preparation. Like, okay, if I want video set up, I'm going to set this up so it's ready for when I want to do it. If cooking is going to throw me off, like, let me have an established time where I've prepared my food, so that way when I'm working, it's just like quick and easy. I'm not distracted. I'm not wanting to cook and do this whole thing. So really my routine right now, it's what I'm actually doing today is going to be sitting back down and planning and saying, okay, how many hours each day do I want to work? And then after that, just kind of shut it off, because my mind will go the entire day and it's not necessarily productive at all. You know what I mean?
Right.
So, yeah.
Has that worked for you in the past?
It has.
Yeah.
And then I'm just like, I don't know how you feel, but I'm always like in between. Like, I'm half organized, half don't want to be organized. Like, I'm half free flowing and half organized. So it's like finding that middle ground. I can say like, set times doesn't always work for me, but like block times to say like, okay, this is the time to do this can work for me when I'm strict about it. It's really just the willpower when it comes down to it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
How about you? What do you do? Do you have a
That's
routine?
interesting.
No.
No.
Time is not in my vocabulary. Routine is not in my vocabulary. Willpower and forcing myself to do anything makes everything worse.
Oh my gosh, see, I would not think that.
Yeah, so it's weird because I'm ADHD, very, and when I wake up in the morning, I'm pretty instantly on fire about anything that I decide to put my mind to. So
that's great.
because I have that energy, naturally it's very sporadic. And I'll have 20 things that I'm really excited about that I just wish I could do all at once right now, you know?
Yes.
So what I've done to trick myself, and I think it works at a freaking subconscious level, is the night before, while I'm going to sleep, I've got my iPad that I use my pencil with, my iPencil, and I write down a to-do list of all the things that I would ideally want to do the next day or within the next few days. Because sometimes my lists are pretty hefty and it takes me a couple days to get through them. But when I wake up, that energy, subconsciously, I remember what was on that list and I'll just start doing it. Like subconsciously, it like went in me, and like because I wrote it the night before, I don't even have to look at the list. I just can focus that energy because I slept on it, you know?
Well, see, you do have a routine. That's I mean, that's a routine. A routine is just established guidelines for yourself on being able to be productive in whatever way works for you. So even if it's not in every...
I'm definitely tricking myself. I'm not like setting to a time, doing certain things.
But I don't think routines necessarily have to always be times. Routine is just like habits. So like if your routine, like, you know, you have a routine of brushing your teeth, even if you don't brush your teeth the same time every day. You know what I mean? That's a good
example.
Of your routine. So your routine is before you go to bed, you create goals for yourself, whatever that you want to take care of, whether or not maybe you could be more effective. Maybe you feel like maybe you could be more effective in your day. Maybe, I don't know. But as far as actually saying, this is what I want to accomplish, that's your routine. And that's what works for you. So I think like just in general, like what I was going to be talking about in my video is just like, at the end of the day, you have to find what works for you and what triggers you, tricks you, whatever, to be able to do those things. That's really what it comes down to. So me telling somebody like, wake up at 9 a.m. every morning, cook your breakfast first thing, and that doesn't work for everybody. No. So that's the thing. Everybody has to come to their own conclusion of like, okay, what makes me the most productive? How am I the most productive? And what are things that are my downfalls? You know what I mean? So if your phone sitting next to you is your downfall, what needs to be your routine is like every day you put that thing on the countertop for a few hours, and that's your routine. You know what I mean? Yeah. So it's just like reimagining the way that you think about the routine, I guess you would say.
Yeah, which I definitely needed, because when you first said that word, I was freaking the freak out. Like, no, I don't want to. So do you have any hacks or tricks like that you do to trick yourself? Or is it this willpower thing that kind of gets you through, like thinking about it as discipline?
No, what I was actually just telling Henry about was my thing. For example, me starting this series, it was hard for me to think about topics until I designed like the graphic for it. And so for me, I always have to create a graphic of some kind to get me inspired to do something. So like if it's even with my EP, I've already like months ago, I already had the whole concept laid out, mood boarded, everything before I even touched any kind of music, anything. It gets me excited and like fired up. So it's almost like my vision board per se. Like when I see it, I'm like, okay, cool. So I have to constantly stimulate my mind in that way to create something visual that makes me say like, ooh, this is going to be great. Like, I can't wait to see how this looks. Same for a website. Like if I had to like put my website together, like, or if I have new music coming out, like I'll start already on my website like revamping it, and it excites me to do those things. It's very strange, but it's
Not at all.
a big part of how I function is just like seeing the visualization of something. So
Which I
like,
love your graphics. That
Thank
shows
you so
because
much.
Your whole brand and like color scheme and videos, everything. I'm not surprised to hear that from you because it perfectly resembles what you do. So I think the trick in that is you just make the visual and then do the thing and then it matches.
Exactly. Then I'm like, yeah, I want to do more. Like, yeah, anything to kind of, yeah, just get me in that space. And cleaning up, honestly, I don't know if that's just like a habit, but having things messy messes with me. But when things are clean, I'm like, okay, cool. Like, let's work. Let's get down to business. And, you know, but besides that, no, I don't have anything that I'm like, this really helps me, you know.
No, but that's a huge thing. Cleaning, oh my God, with my ADHD brain, I had so much ish in my life that was then just in my brain. Like if there was a pile on the desk, that means there's a pile in my brain holding me back and holding me waiting on me. So or weighing on me. But I became a minimalist, kind of. Like I still have gear and random stuff, but I don't know if I want to say I became a minimalist. That's so lame. I adopted a minimalistic type mentality. How about that? And and I got rid of a whole bunch of stuff. And then for my last birthday last year, I asked my parents for a Dyson.
Those vacuums.
Oh yeah, the vacuum. They're like, wow, she wants
that thing changed.
That's when you know you
life.
hit the old territory. Yeah.
I'm a grandma and I love it. But that thing changed my life. Like vacuuming every day is meditation for me. I don't know if it's the white noise of it or just the like kind of the motion, the pattern of movement. I don't know what it is, but it's my happy place. So the cleaning thing, I've become like, I think I might be borderline OCD after this because it is healing.
Yes, it is. It really is. It's just like having it, like even before I did this, I was like, okay, like I was kind of a mess the past day and like things were all over the place. And I'm like, I can't physically like do this with you if I know the house is dirty. So I was like, let me just like clean up, like wipe things down. And it just makes me feel like, okay, I'm ready to work. So, you know, it does help. It really does. Otherwise, you kind of just like go into this like sloth mentality where you're like, oh, whatever, like everything's like messy. Let me just.
You and I sound so similar. You and I sound like we kind of work the same way, like as people. And that's really cool to hear about because when you think of artists nowadays, you think of them like smoking a blunt in the studio, you know, partying. Right. Like there's this kind of, I mean, I guess that still exists. But yeah. there's a stigma around, or just kind of a typical vision that you would see in your mind of like what a cool artist life is like.
Right.
And I think that's changing. Like as more of us are independent, working in our homes, there's less of a separation between us and our personal life and our work. So there is no go out, put your swag on, meet up with the friends and the homies in the studio. It's not like that. It's like I'm in my bedroom and there's a computer here with some speakers. Right. There's no separation anymore. So I think there is this more holistic, personal atmosphere around music with us DIY artists. And I love that. I love hearing about that.
Yeah, that's very true. Yeah, exactly.
Are you in your home studio right now?
Yeah, I'm in my, what I call my cloffice. It's the worst sounding name, but it's my closet office. And so it's basically my, I don't know if you can see, it's my little walk-in closet. But we live in an apartment and we have 2 walk-in closets. And my Hank, he has his own studio, like out, like a real studio.
It's cloffice. Is it not a cloffice?
No, it's not a cloffice. He's got the legitimate. But I was like, you know what, like that, I need my space and something that's cute. And that's another thing, like for me to do videos, like I just have to have something that constantly looks good. That's easy. That I just like pop on a light and like, boom, it's fine, you know? So, yeah, so I'm in my office, and this is where I do my work. But I do like recording, I'll do like in the living room or something, but like real recording I'll have to do at the studio. But
because you're in an apartment, is that also why you picked the closet, so that it's a more acoustically sound and quiet place?
I mainly did it because, well, that too, I guess, but also because we have a 1 bedroom, and so we have the living room. It's like a very wide open layout, but
Can you give us a little bit more of a tour? I want to see it. Yeah.
wait, of what? Okay.
Yeah, I want to see how big this is.
Okay.
Are you literally working in a shoebox here? Like,
No, let me see. Okay, I'm gonna move this light over here. Let me see if I can. So it's just like this. So can you see?
oh, yeah.
Yeah. So
Oh,
it's
that's
literally
so
just
cute.
like that.
And you kept the shelves.
Yeah, I kept the shelves that are up there. I mean, they're just doing their thing. And this was like a nightmare to get in here, this little corner desk. But it's like
Yeah.
my little nook. It's like the equivalent of like if you had a wall space and it's just like your little nook. But then like
Yeah.
over here, yeah, we're just doing a tour. Why not?
I love
Over
it.
here, like is my other spot where I'll do like music stuff.
Videos and things too, I'm sure.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So
I love
welcome
it.
to my crib. That's our living.
Nyla's crib. I love it.
Yes.
Show us where the magic happens.
Oh yeah, no. It is clean though. It's nice and clean now. I just cleaned it.
I love it.
But yeah, so it's nice. So this is like my little spot, and I can just close the door. But no, it's still spacious in here. Like I can do this. Oh, except I just hit myself on the desk. But normally
So maybe
I
you
can
can't do this.
Maybe I can't. No, but I can. It's good. My piano fit in here too, but I just moved it out there, so I have another spot to record.
I love it. It's so cute.
Thanks.
I just moved into a new place. Maybe I'll give a quick tour, even though this is a podcast and people can't see anything.
It looks different from what I've seen before. But you said you just
Yes.
moved out of your mom's.
Yes.
Right?
So I was at
Is
my
that what you said?
mom's
Okay.
house because I was in between places trying to find something, because I don't know what happened, if it was the everything going on in LA or COVID, or I don't know, but everybody seemed to be moving and taking up all the places before I could even get to freaking see them.
Oh,
So
no.
it took a while to find a place, and we were so
Wow.
aggressive with this place. We had to be so aggressive. We had to be like, yo, I'm the best tenant ever. I can move in today. I can give you all the money you need. Let me in. You know?
Oh no!
It was so
my
hard to find a
goodness.
place.
So cutthroat. Yeah, it probably was because of the pandemic. Just like
I think so. So this is my
Yeah.
little setup.
okay, yeah,
I
definitely
built
different because
this
before it was a different
table.
spot.
Yeah, and it's a room. It's not a closet. So that
Okay.
changes things as well. And then this is my loft. So it's upstairs.
Oh, I love it.
This is technically a 1-bedroom, but it has a second story with like this little room here. And I was like, this is perfect
Okay.
for my office. So
Yeah. Oh, that's great.
that's what I did. Anyways,
I mean, at the end of the day, that's the thing. It's like you can't make excuses. It's just like what you have is what you have, and like make the best of what you have. You know what I mean? Make it cozy,
Yep.
make it fun for you. You know.
And actually, I don't know, this is kind of like a sidebar, but at the same time, it's not, because when I went minimalist, I also figured out my style. When I first moved out and I was at college, my mom gave me a whole bunch of her furniture to use, so I didn't have to buy any furniture, because we were like student loans and all that, whatever. So
Yeah.
I just used her stuff, but then about a year ago, I sold it all and bought all my own things. And I realized that like a tapestry, a plant, and my computer, and like some keyboards and a rug, and like you can make any space look like your vibe with just a few things. Like you've got your records and your
Exactly.
rope lighting. You could put that anywhere and it's Nyla.
Right.
You know, and I think that's so
Yes.
cool that I can have like my entire theme and space in a trunk, like in a little drawer.
Yeah.
And pull it out and put a tapestry up and like, hey, this is Nova's place, you know?
Right. Exactly.
So it's important as a creative to have your own kind of vibe and designated space, you know?
Yes, ma'am. Exactly.
Yeah.
Well, I'm glad that you got
So-
that situated. That sounded stressful, but I'm glad you got it all sorted out.
Yes, I'm so sorry that there's been a delay on this. There's been some weird moments like that. I keep talking on you, and I'm so sorry.
Oh no, I haven't even noticed. Besides, like one time, I really haven't noticed.
Okay, this is the first time there's been this much of a delay, so I apologize if I've just been talking over you. But
no, you haven't. That's okay.
Is there anything that we can do for you? Any place that we can support you, follow you, give you a bunch of likes? Where can we find you?
Oh, thanks. Honestly, well, you can sign up for my email list, which is at heynyla.com. So HEYNYLA.com. Or, excuse me, honestly, Instagram is my favorite because that's where I like to connect with people the most, is in the DMs. And so if you follow me there, I will hook you up with everything that you need. So if you just follow me, Instagram, at It's Nyla, so ITSNYLA. That's the best place for us to just get connected, and then we'll hang out, we'll chat. You can see everything. I'm very good about keeping everybody updated on what's going on. So my music, my last EP is out on Spotify. If you would like, well, everywhere, streaming everywhere. If you'd like to listen to it, it's called The More You Grow.
What do we look up for that?
Just look up The More You Grow, Nyla, NYLA.
Okay.
Yeah, and so on any of the streaming platforms, you can find that.
Is that the one where you're holding your picture?
Yes.
I love that cover.
Here, thank you. It's this one.
That is...
Boom, boom, boom.
That just shows your graphic designer genius right there. I absolutely love that. That caught my eye years ago.
Thank you. I know.
Yeah.
This was my favorite too. And again, this was something that was in my living room, and it was a whole little project. I'm actually going to show people how I made this one too. That's going to be for people on my YouTube, about how to like create album artwork and just like understanding like how dimensions work. How can you do this on Photoshop or like whatever program you use? So I'm going to be showing like using that.
Where do you distribute your music?
CD Baby.
CD Baby, really?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And you like it, okay? You've been there for a while?
I do.
Okay.
I have been there for a while. My EP and like a couple of other songs that I've done. Are you with DistroKid?
I am, yeah. How much does CD Baby charge?
Okay, that's what I figured. CD Baby is more expensive. I think it's like when you're doing like a single, I want to say it's like $10 per song. So I know that it's more steep than DistroKid, but I just find CD Baby's customer service to be a little bit more hands-on when you need help. And so I find that to be very valuable. Like if you need like your things like separated properly, if you have questions, especially my name, unfortunately, there are a lot of other Nylas in the game. And so it was important for me to be able to have direct contact with someone to say, how do we get this stuff sorted?
Yeah, DistroKid's terrible with that. I had a couple problems once. I accidentally put, for a release that it was in 2020, I accidentally put 2019 because it was like the beginning of the year and I was still 2019, And so they put out my song before it was supposed to be out because it's like, oh, it's 2019, it's already out, so let's just put it out. It took like a week to get that down, and like the song was pre-released basically, so it was kind of lame.
So that's
like rough. The format that they have on DistroKid, it's like a little too MySpacey for me personally. It's like a little bit too like I need a website that just is a little bit more clear. So that's why I'm a CD Baby.
So the other thing too that I've really wanted to do is instead of releasing a whole album at once or just singles, like those are the only two options with DistroKid. Do you know with CD Baby if there's a way to release an album as singles, like one by one, but then by the end of it, it's a consecutive album?
Oh no, I think all of them do it the same way.
So then how do the freaking big people do it?
The big people can do anything that they want.
That's not fair.
It's not fair. You guys, justice for the little people. No, because even we were just talking about this, because even with like bigger name artists, they can have capitalizations any way they want. They can format their titles however the heck they want. But for you, like Hanky was putting out a thing that's like Dream 1, Dream 2, and he couldn't put 1, 2, 3, 4 at like that. Like he had to type it out. like number one, number two. So, but I've seen people do all sorts of weird things.
I wonder if there's a way around that. I'm like trying to get creative and think about how I could get around that, but I don't know, because we have to go through these distributors in order for it to get to every single platform.
Yeah.
And there is no perfect one, but whatever.
Yeah, I don't think. Let me see what my brother said. That's what Russ does. He releases single songs. That's not what he should do. Oh yeah. No, yeah, we know that you release the songs before for the albums, but it's just like the way that it formats on Spotify later.
Right, because I want it to be an album by the end.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
I know you could probably do that on SoundCloud. SoundCloud's probably the only one that you could definitely.
Yeah, we could like merge it later, but again, I think this is one of those things that like you might be overthinking that at the end of the day, it's the only thing that it matters to us.
One
like,
cares.
Yeah, they just want the song, and then when you have it on the album, they're like, "Cool, these are the songs I saw. Let me listen to the album." So, in that respect, don't overthink it, But I definitely feel you because those things we can overthink a lot.
Don't overthink it. Is like that should be the motto of my life, basically. It should just be. I should just tattoo that on my forehead because that's my main tendency. Just overthink everything.
Yeah, I can be that way too.
It's been so good talking with you.
Haven't seen each other in years.
I know.
So this is nice to see you and chat face to face.
Yes, very much so. And thank you for being such a light and inspiration on the internet and coming onto my podcast.
Thank you so much for having me. This was really fun. Thank you. And thank you everybody who joined us in there. Sorry I didn't get to release you, but hi.
Yeah, I know. I always have trouble getting with chat when I'm on here. It's like I want to just be talking to you, but I know there's other people giving great input, so I'm going to have to go back and read it. Thanks again for being here, and I hope you have a great rest of your Sunday.
You too. Bye. See you.
Sweetie. Awesome. Nice talking to Nyla. I want your feedback. This was a very different kind of flow of a show for me. Not scripted. I didn't write anything for this, and I just kind of let the conversation go where it wanted to go. So if you liked this episode and how it kind of just was a free flow conversation like this, give it a thumbs up if you're watching on YouTube, or rate it if you're watching on Apple Podcasts or Spotify, and leave a comment either on Anchor or YouTube, and let me know how you feel about this kind of layout. If you want to support the podcast, you can go to patreon.com/shenova and subscribe to my YouTube channel, youtube.com/shenova, where all Boss Pod episodes are released. So that means this episode and all the other ones, you can binge watch them in a playlist on my YouTube. Thank you so much for watching. Be sure to follow me here on Instagram if you want to catch these live. These are going to become random. They're not going to be at certain times. Just whenever the guest can meet with me is when we're going to do it. And I'm going to be changing the day of the official release of the podcast to Wednesdays. So keep a lookout for that. And have a great rest of your Sunday. This is Shenova signing out of Boss Pod episode 11. Late.